Attorney General Merrick Garland finally addressing the unprecedented FBI raid on former President Trump. But where are President Biden and FBI Director Christopher Wray? Both men remaining very tight-lipped.
As I'm sure you can appreciate, that's not something that I can talk about, so I'd refer you to the department.
Mr. President, what do you say to Americans?
The DOJ will be fair. Mr. President,
Mr. President, what do you say to Americans who think this is? What do you say to Americans who think this is a politically motivated search of Mar-a-Lago?
Are you
Can you reassure them it's not?
DOJ will be fair? Are you confident DOJ will be fair?
Can you assure Americans it's not a politically motivated search warrant, sir?
President Biden claims he's been in the dark about the FBI raid, among other things, but a New York Times report from April is surfacing. It says that last year, Joe Biden told his inner circle he believed Donald Trump was a threat to democracy and should be prosecuted over January 6th. Right now, Biden's on vacation, hanging out with his son Hunter, though. Here's what people don't like in the country, Judge. We get that you don't want to go out and just hold press conferences in the middle of investigations. We understand that. But something this high profile and then to go dark for 48 hours while your department is leaking to the New York Times and leaking to the Washington Post, oh, this. We don't like that. And that's why we don't trust the process, because it's not clear to the public.
No, you're right. And, you know, I was going to mention this earlier. The idea that, you know, we don't talk when there's an investigation. What are you talking about? The FBI is known for leaking and leaking and leaking. It's what they do. It's how they get their word out so that juries are tainted, that kind of thing. I mean, I've seen it for 35 years. But the sad part about all this is that Hunter Biden gets to go on Air Force One. Hunter Biden, the guy who got the gun, lied on the pistol application, and doing drugs, doing everything else, and, you know, pay to play all over the world, unprepared to do any of the stuff he's being paid for. Nobody raided his house. Nobody raided his apartment. Nobody followed him. The same with Hillary Clinton. The same with Sandy Berger. The justice depends upon what party you belong to in this country. We see it over and over again, and that's why Americans are disgusted with the criminal justice system. Whether it's Hunter Biden or Donald Trump, you get the exact opposite. They keep saying, you know, Nancy Pelosi says, you know, no one's above the law. But I'm starting to think that there are people who are beneath the law. There are people who are not held to what the law is, but are under the law.
The Democrats have really changed. They used to say, oh, don't trust the government. You know, the FBI and CIA had infiltrated the anti-war movement, the civil rights movement. They'd spied on Muhammad Ali. They'd spied on the Black Panthers, pretty much spied on the Tea Party. For everybody they've spied on, right? And now the Democrats are saying, hey, they got a warrant. They can go into anybody's house, go into anyone's wife's dressing room and rifle around, and no one should see anything, and it's all fine and dandy. How did you guys change from being so, you know, libertarian and anti-government to say, hey, let the government do what it wants with me?
You talking to me?
I am talking to you and all your people, Harold.
You know, all your people.
You know what I mean by that.
I normally say I have a slightly different opinion. I have a very different opinion about,
you know
about
it's true.
This. I know that Secretary Pompeo and the former National Security Advisor, Mr. Bolton, are delighted that the Justice Department and that our law enforcement officials did the right thing and didn't favor evenly, without fear and favor, and protected them. God bless them, and God bless those agents who protected them. Two, look, I get Hunter, Hillary, Bill Clinton, all of them. I mean, I get it. But I can't get around the facts that are here. We can talk about it. If you guys want to talk about whether Hunter Biden was investigated, I think, under Donald Trump, and I think he's still under investigation.
Why is he under investigation for so long?
That's not uncommon for people.
4 years?
First of all, I have no clue.
It's the same grand jury for
4 years.
I've listened to the same things you guys listen to. That we have before us a set of facts here. I hope that, all the facts come out, and if the president remains innocent, because he's innocent now and he's proven innocent, I'll be the first to say on this show that a lot of what you're saying is probably
well,
right.
he's assumed.
But Jesse, if I'm willing to do that, some people have got to be willing to say the president had the warrant and he had the receipt, and he said he didn't.
It's not about that.
That's not a
It's
crime.
not about the
Come
warrant,
on.
and you know it. It's not
That's
about
not
the
a crime.
warrant.
We're talking abuse of
I mean,
power.
they doctor warrants.
Right.
They lie in warrants. We've already proven that.
If I had your argument, I'd be doing the same thing.
So, to the point we made earlier in the A block, Dana, they have to have what? They have to have like what the nuclear codes. They have to have smoking gun evidence of like massive national security secrets. What if they just have some letters, some documents? What is Merrick Garland going to say then?
Well, because of the silence, then the speculation has filled the void. And one of the pieces of speculation that some are writing about, including Andy McCarthy, wrote about this yesterday, and he said that maybe it's not about records, that the search warrant was broad, and that what they were really looking for was a fishing expedition for something to deal with January 6th.
Well, they did go into every single room.
And so if they do that, then I guess Merrick Garland has something else to say. What I think is, I understand Christopher Wray saying, well, I refer you to the guy that I report to, the Justice Department guy, and then Merrick Garland says, okay, yeah, I signed it. What I can't understand is the White House maintaining that nobody at the White House was informed. And let's just say that the White House said, we are going to have a clean break. We don't want to have any discussion with the Justice Department whatsoever. I think that's a very irresponsible and a dereliction of duty, because even if you don't want to have to deal with something that you think is repugnant or ugly, it is still your responsibility to oversee the executive branch. And it's your responsibility as the commander-in-chief and the president of the United States to be informed and to be able to weigh in and to use your judgment. That is why you were elected. And I think that on Monday night, in addition to Merrick Garland issuing a statement, the White House counsel could have said, we were informed, we did not tell the president. Didn't tell the president, I got problems with that too, but at least then we would know that there was somebody minding the store at the White House.
I mean, they were all over these guys with the so-called whips on the horses. They wouldn't shut up about it, Greg, but now they can't talk about anything. The president doesn't know anything.
Those were reins, remember?
Right.
And now they were whips. They have a problem with language, don't they, Jesse?
Yes.
Montage?
Would you like to hear it?
I would like to hear a montage.
Is it a raid or not? Let's listen.
It wasn't a raid on his house. No doors were kicked down.
It's all legal. It's all lawful. It's not a raid.
And I know Donald Trump is saying that this is a raid, but that's a gross exaggeration.
We have to be careful not to adopt the term raid.
The only reason you'd have a search like this, and let's be polite and call it a search and not a raid.
Trump talks about a raid on his home. No, man, there was no raid on your home.
All right. Well, what would you call it when they come with guns and rifle through every
Obviously,
room
one
in
of
your
those
mansion?
bachelorette scavenger hunts, right? They were just looking one. They had a little list, and they were going through. Isn't it amazing that when we do these montages, that it's so clear that there's one script?
Yeah.
There's absolutely one script, and it comes from somewhere. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's the DNC. Who knows? But it all comes down, and they all get it. And they go, okay, this is what we're going to say today. And for once, they're interested in absolute definitions after they refuse to define what a woman is, where they redefine recession, where they call black people white supremacists like Larry Elder. So they've been they stretch the language like Brian Stelter in yoga pants, and then they come back and there's a large event in which a large group of armed people enter the house, and they go, oh, it's just a search. What's your problem?
Oh boy. All right.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.